Welcome back to Tu-Vie, your TV movie entertainment needs channel. Today I'm doing my review over Oppenheimer, and I know it's been out for a few months since I'm going to be recording this and when it's going to be posted, because I didn't really want to post this during the strikes. I really wanted to stand in solidarity in what we've been doing on the channel. If you guys haven't seen our previous episodes, as we've been going over writers' filmographies and just talking about things that don't necessarily involve just the movie process, either be video games or just kind of other things like that, just aren't directly involved. So we wanted to kind of stand with writers and give other writers a lot more credit. And by this point, I think we've done maybe 7 writers and or directors, but they've been mainly writers. If you guys haven't seen those episodes, it started out with Wes Anderson and to most likely the most current one. So like I said, if you guys haven't checked out that, it's probably season 2 episode, I want to say 14 or 13, whichever the Wes Anderson one, it's going to be best Wes Anderson movie. Look for that title. You're there. Actually, before we get started, this is your spoiler warning for the entire movie. We're going into details about this. So if you guys haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's truly a fantastic movie. It deserves every kind of viewing. If you can see it on a bigger screen than your phone, please watch it then, but do what you can. It's a fantastic movie. With that being said, let's get into it. So for me, this year so far, Oppenheimer has been one of, if not the most like impactful movie this year. I know Barbie had fantastic impact in the world where people, feel okay with their emotions and everything. And I mean, it was truly great. And I go into a further review of the Barbie movie in this video here. But in terms of how our political world is moving right now and everything else, just the never ending threat of this device of our own creation, to which then Oppenheimer regrets, really stuck with it. I mean, the audience that I went to go see it with, I don't know if every audience was the same, but my audience for sure walked out in silence. Like I truly have never felt more like quiet in a movie experience, both during it and when we were leaving. It really, I mean, I haven't had experience like that since maybe A Quiet Place came out. So that's been a long time. But I think this movie did a fantastic job. And I really am going out on this, and this is 100% confident. This is Christopher Nolan's best movie yet. This is his best one. I truly think it'll be really, really hard to top the impact that Oppenheimer had and the way that he made this movie and its overall popularity that the world was struck by. Don't think it could compete with the next one. Not to say Christopher Nolan's a bad director, but this one was like an amalgamation of amazing actors putting in 100% of their effort and giving this movie like full focus. I mean, and like I said, for the cast, you have Cillian Murphy as Robert Oppenheimer, Emily Blunt as Oppenheimer, Katie Oppenheimer, Matt Damon as Leslie Groves, Robert Downey Jr. as Leslie Strauss, and just overall a great cast. Also, fantastic supporting actors like Florence Pugh, David Krumholtz, Jason Clarke, and Kenneth Branagh were fantastic in the scenes that they were in. The communications between Robert Oppenheimer, or just, I mean, the scenes that they were even just communicating within like that little group with Lewis at that summit meeting was fantastic. And even outside of the strikes, we want to continue giving our focus to the writers, and props to Nolan to create this world physically. Like I don't know if you guys ever caught a video or even just knew about it. He did recreate Los Alamos from scratch, found a plot, built it up. And I think Nolan not using CGI for the bomb in the movie, not for real life, because that would have been wild if he actually did. He created like a small explosion to have that impact. But to really do that though, I think is the best choice, because like he said in press releases and everything, you're going to be like feeling this explosion throughout the theater. And like while you're in the theater, you're going to feel like you're really there. I know a lot of people took that with memes. They were really funny, but like if you haven't seen it, it's very true. And in terms of, you feel that shock, you feel that boom, and you see it's like, lack of a better word, beauty in it. And even in the moment where they're going like through the VFX of how they created like that quantum realm with all the different particles swirling and the different, small miniature things they did to show the circulation of the atoms and everything, and the clash of everything was just perfect. And I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but there was a review that someone said like, it's weird to see how Marvel is now bleeding out into other movies like the quantum realm. And someone actually was like, buddy, that's a real physics thing. I thought that was funny because I think Marvel has kind of muddled other realistic things like quantum research and quantum tunneling and all these different things and splitting the atom and everything. So I just think it's kind of funny that that tweet's real. But like I said, Christopher Nolan did a fantastic job with this movie by shifting perspective in color and black and white. And with that in the movie was also done in the script. It was two different ways that he wrote it. So in black and white, it was a situation about Robert Oppenheimer that wasn't told through Oppenheimer. That's why Lewis Strauss was the main focus of that portion of those shots, either him in the courtroom or him talking to his lawyers and everything. But then everything in color was done through the perspective of Robert Oppenheimer. So much so is that even Christopher Nolan wrote it in first person and third person when he was switching between black and white. So when it was black and white on the scripts, it was reading, blank, like Strauss was communicating with this, or like Strauss walks in or whatever, all these different things that were in the third person. But then for Robert Oppenheimer, it was like, I look into the glass staring at the infinite abyss, whatever. It was like, whatever it was for Robert Oppenheimer, third or first person. Everybody else was third. And I think that really puts a cool perspective and a lot more stress on Cillian Murphy. And he's come out and said it gets a lot of pressure when, he has to be in this Christopher Nolan movie about this character, about this horrific thing that happens to both the world and Robert Oppenheimer, because it's not a glorification of this thing. It's truly a cautionary tale. And luckily, they didn't show anything about Nagasaki and Hiroshima because I feel like that probably would have been super disrespectful. But I'm glad they showed the mental stress of Robert Oppenheimer afterwards. If you just roll with me, what I mean by that is that I don't think we've truly like understood why these weapons are to be feared. And I think in the movie, Robert Oppenheimer's speech, in that little court area, I don't know if it was like a basketball court or something, whatever it was, is after the bombings and he's talking to the people. And halfway through, there's that blinding light that we saw from the, Trinity test, which is then correlated to the explosion of the bomb, and him like losing his breath and very quickly seeing that woman's like flesh flailing and leaving her face and just so freaky. I truly shocked everybody in the theater, including me. And I didn't see that coming a mile away. And what I love about Nolan is that he'll play something in the beginning of the movie, kind of like maybe even a little closer to the end of the first act, that won't be touched or brought back until the third act, like the very end, last 2 minutes. And damn, does he do a good job here. In the opening, it's very quick. When Robert, I think it was at Harvard or whatever university he was at, when he's looking down at the puddles and he's seeing the ripples of the rain. And at the very end of the movie, where almost the same ripple effect was done on Earth after the missiles have gone off. And there was a brief shot of him in the plane, with the pilot in the plane, and then he's in the plane, and one missile goes by, and then multiple missiles go by at the end of the movie. And then later on in the beginning of the movie-ish, maybe middle second act, you see that one missile silo, and then at the end of the movie, it pans like around it, and you see a line of missile silos. It's showing the glorification that people have made for this weapon that isn't supposed to be used. And I think knowing how many we actually have blown up, which by the way, hasn't been three, it's been a lot more, means we got lucky each time that thing went off, not burning our whole world up. And I think one of the more brutal parts of the movie, a lot is in that movie still, but one of the more brutal parts is when Einstein and Oppenheimer are talking at the lake when Lewis is walking in the background, kind of, the very recurring moment in the movie, but it's when you actually hear the communication and the conversation. And Robert's like, you remember when I came to you and with those calculations about destroying the world? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I think we did. It's just like that the last 10 seconds with the music. I needed a hug. And the music was stupid good. Ludwig Göransson, that man's killing the game, but Oppenheimer may be his best one. Yeah, I mean, both director and composer knocking it out of the park. I mean, the guy went from a Netflix movie, Road Trip, to Boba Fett, to a Pixar's Turning Red, to Mandalorian, to Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which was stupid good, Con la Brisa. But then Oppenheimer just blew all of those out of the water. I mean, each note carried weight, and it was a very rough weight to carry. I mean, Ludwig Göransson, if he's at least not nominated for original soundtrack, I'm gonna lose it. Now, look, I know Oscars. I don't know what that whole deal is right now. Again, when I'm recording this, this is months ago, so I don't know what the Oscars are looking like right now. But he deserves a win, right? I mean, I think the whole ending score, like I said, just was just too damn good to ignore, man. Writing, directing, freaking cinematography, the acting, all were just a fantastic collaboration for this incredible movie. And like I said earlier, it is a cautionary tale. This is not something to glorify. This is something to watch in fear. This is something to take away with a heavy heart. When I came home, I went straight to bed. Didn't talk to anyone. I got in the car, drove home, went to bed. I was just distraught the whole rest of the day. If you guys didn't know, this movie is based on the book American Prometheus, and it's not like an original story. So if you aren't aware with the story of Prometheus, he is a Greek mythological character. He's been known to either be like a trickster, or sometimes even known as the god of fire. But the story of it is that he stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. And because of that, he was punished for life, like all eternity, punished. And that's kind of what this is, but for a singular human being. So Oppenheimer gave fire, the atom bomb, to the government, and internally was punished. And also he was punished. And there's other things in the movie. I don't want to talk too much into it because it's truly fantastic what happens in the movie. And that speech that Albert Einstein gives him, where you then see that look into the future, was fantastic. And I really think if anyone should read the book, I think you should read American Prometheus. Really, really good book. But overall, this movie's fantastic. Please do not skip out on this. And that will be all for our review on Oppenheimer. I know it's not maybe the most happy movie that came out this year, but if you are looking for a happy movie review, go check out the Barbie review. That movie, super, super good too. It's really, truly neck and neck for Oppenheimer because those movies were fantastic in their own beautifully unique way. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. And also check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts for our podcast, the Tu-Vie podcast. Like I've said, we've covered all things writing and the writer's strike, and also among various other things like comic book crossovers and the Predator versus Wolverine. We got when movies deserve another sequel, like Real Steel. Tons of other stuff. Go check it out now, as well as all of season one. Also, be check us out on Instagram and TikTok. We're there at Tu-Vie Podcast. Links are all in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.